Hello, today I'll be demonstrating the ARForms exclusive WordPress form builder available at codecanyon.com. Now this product is extremely easy to use if you want to put together a quick form. It's also very simple to configure, and you can configure things that go beyond anything you've done with any other form builder. I mean, it's got custom CSS available for discrete form items as well as globally. You can sync this up with your email autoresponder systems. I'm going to go through a lot of these features coming up, so let's just start drilling down into some of these capabilities. What I'd like to do for you now is create a form. So we're going to create a form from scratch. And for example, let's say I've got a company that sells products to auto body shops and auto repair shops, and I want to give people the opportunity to sign up for my newsletter. So I'm going to click on Add a New Form. First thing it's going to ask if we want to create a blank custom form or if we want to use one of the templates. So as I mentioned before, if you want to create something just in a couple minutes, you can throw something together very quickly here. But I want to show you some of the more advanced capabilities. So I'm going to create a blank form called Newsletter Sign Up. So this is your interface. You've got a preview tab and an editor. These three items here are for email marketers. If you want to sync this up with any one of 7 popular email clients, you can do that. So when people fill out the form, it will add the contacts to those email clients and also start an autoresponder sequence automatically. So those API integrations are already built in. And we have some overall settings which we'll be going through later. So right here we have a title, but there are no fields. So since we're starting a blank form, let's start off with name. I'm just going to drag that single line text field over and type name. Notice below we've got several tabs that allow us to customize this field. Under basic options, we can make this a 1, 2, or 3 column form. Quite a few validation and field size rules here. Property and styling, we can change the look and feel using CSS. And the conditional law tab I'm going to save for the checkboxes because we're going to do something a little later that's a little more custom. But that's it for this field. We have a name. All I need now is an email address. So now that I've dragged this one over, the properties went away here and now they fall under the email field. So I'm not going to change any of these options for the purpose of this test. What I am going to do is I'm going to drag over a page break. And what that just did was turn this regular form into a 2-part form. So now my customers will enter their name and email address and click a next button and then fill out the rest of the form. So you can add several of these page breaks and have a multi-step form. And it was easy as dragging over a page break. Next thing I want to do is create some checkboxes so people can choose what kind of newsletters they want to receive from me. And I'm going to call this Choose Newsletter. For the first one, I'm going to call this Auto Body. For the second one, I'm going to call this Auto Repair. So now that we have our checkboxes set, I want to do something a little more advanced. I'm going to create an option now that only appears for my auto repair customers. So I'll add another checkbox under this. And I'm going to call this Would you like an auto repair catalog? Since I don't have an auto body catalog, I'm only going to ask if they want a catalog if they select auto repair. I'm going to remove one of the checkbox options and we'll just call this Yes. So since I only want this conditionally to show if it's auto repair, I'm going to go to conditional law, and we are going to show this field if all of the following conditions match. And I'll set this law see, what I'm going to choose is, let's see, the newsletter field contains repair. Now I'm going to preview, and let's see how it works. So first it's going to ask for a name, email. Notice how it's validating my email address, and click Next. So choose newsletter is step 2. If I choose auto body, nothing happens. If I choose auto repair, notice how I get another option here. And we have checkbox 1 as this option. So once I have this, I can submit or go back to the previous step. Form is successfully submitted. So while we're in the preview, I'd like to go through some of these customization options. Under the styling tool, we can change the form width, quite a few text options, padding, the shadowing, even the radius on the fields can be gradually changed. The border color, you can change the image of the background, the opacity, and down below there's quite a few settings. We can change the label settings, input field, submit button for example. We can change the position of it. We can even change it to a different image. So if we want, we can upload our own image to match whatever WordPress page we're on. And notice the margin. For example, notice where the next button is positioned now. If I change this to 80, and I'm going to change the top margin to 20, look what happens to our button. It repositions automatically, so we can preview how that's going to look. So I'm going to go into the general settings now. This gives you an idea of some of the form settings that we can change. There are reCAPTCHA configurations. Default messages are all configurable. Email settings. This is where we would set up our autoresponder. And other settings like the rebranding link, if you want an Ajax-based submission, and your global CSS. Now what I'm going to do is go into one of our demo pages, and let's see how this form looks. So under sample page, I'm going to add this form in a couple of different ways. So all we do is click the A logo, select form, let's choose this form. There's two different ways we can do this. We can insert this internally or have it be an external pop-up window, and there's a number of different options here. Let's start with internal. This drops in our code, and we can immediately preview these changes. So here's another sample form inserted internally. Let's go back and see how this looks with the fly-in style. So what I'm going to do is go to one of our pages. I'm going to delete that code and click the logo. So for external, you'll notice there's several options. We can insert it as a link, a button, sticky, or fly. I'm going to demonstrate the fly option and leave all of these default. The link position, though, I'm going to put on the right. And let's add that to the page. Let's use another sample page. So it dropped in all of the code, and all I have to do is preview. So notice on the right we have a sticky fly-in, and when we click this, the form is going to fly in from the right, and it's ready to go. So going back to one of our forms, I'm going to show you more of the properties that we can modify. So let's go into Jimmy's form. From here we can edit, we can export the list as CSV, preview. There's even an import and export feature for forms that you have already created and you want to move over to another page or WordPress site. So looking at this example, you've got field elements on the left, styling tool on the right. I wanted to go into the general settings and show you some of these capabilities. So after somebody submits their information, there's a couple things you could do. You can display a message, redirect to a custom URL, or display content from another page. And this is some of the discrete CSS that you can add. So for field labels, you can specifically add CSS code just for that element. And there's other CSS options as well. So I'm going to go switch over to the form entries. So as people are submitting to your forms, all of that contact information lands here. There's analytics I'd like to show you as well. So let's select one of our forms, Sports Club membership. You can see down below there are going to be several people who have signed up. I'm not going to choose a date range. We'll just take a look at everybody who's signed up. Notice we get quite a bit of information about them, even the browser they were using, and the country. Let's switch over to analytics. This gives us nice insight into the activity. All of our forms or discrete forms, we can select all of the activity that just this form has experienced in the past month, year, a number of date ranges, both entries and views. Now finally, the import-export feature I mentioned before. This is the interface for that. We can export specific forms and we can export entries. You can also import other forms. So you can go to another WordPress site, and if you've already taken the time to create a form, you can import it there. So that's it for the demonstration. Again, this product is available at codecanyon.com, and it's an extremely reasonable price. Please go check it out. And when you search at Code Canyon, make sure you type in ARForms, all one word. And I appreciate your time.